Hi guys, how are you all today morning? Good morning. Today is 2nd December 2023. My name is TSV Raghavan and I live in Chennai, Tamil Nadu, India. This is my spiritual vlog on YouTube. HARDAN, 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 Haribol, TRSV, Nectar, NECTAR, Nectar. In this particular vlog, in all my previous videos, we have been discussing about the knowledge and information that we have gleaned through the study of spiritual books, scriptures, contemplation on the material universe, and meditation on the spiritual universe. This particular video in this vlog is no exception to that rule. In fact, it is a mere continuation of all that we have been doing in all my previous videos. Kindly subscribe to my video and press the bell icon so that I may keep reminding you of all my previous, present, and future videos. So let us continue with the topic of discussion for today's video. For the past few videos, we have been talking about a very important term in the life and psyche of every human living entity, whether male or female, in a particular lifetime in this material world. This particular term is known as mind, M-I-N-D, mind. Actually, there are four layers of material body that envelop a spirit soul and provide a cocoon for that spirit soul in this material body when it comes in touch with this material body for the first time. This particular cocoon is provided by this material world to avoid the irritation caused by that touch from the spirit soul to the material world. As soon as this spirit soul has these four layers of material body, it sheds its identity as a raw, unevolved spirit soul and becomes a new identity called living entity. This living entity, after some time, has to go through various births and deaths in an infinite chain of births and deaths in various species in the material world till it ultimately begins getting birth as a human species. We are talking about a living entity which has taken birth in the human species. Among the four layers, three are made up of ether and are subtle in nature. In other words, they are not visible to the naked eye of a human, a living body entity's gross body. The fourth layer is known as that gross body. A human or any other living entity is identified in this material world thanks to that gross body. Of the three subtle bodies, the first one is the causal body of intelligence and logic. It is closest to the spirit soul. The second is known as the astral body of material emotions and feelings and is called the astral body of mind. The third layer is known as the etheric body of senses, which are five in number. They are first sight, second hearing, third smell, fourth taste, and fifth touch. This etheric body of senses is closest to the gross body of the living entity, and this gross body is made up of four earthly elements or material elements known as air, fire, water, and earth. Just like the causal body of intelligence and logic is closest to the spiritual soul, similarly, the etheric body of senses is closest to the gross body of that living entity. It is the astral body of mind which is in between these two pairs. First, the spirit soul and the causal body make the first pair, and the second pair is etheric body of senses and gross body. The astral body of mind, being in the center, influences every body other than it also, besides giving its own vibrations. That is precisely the reason why mind is given so much importance in this term in spiritualism. This mind is closer to the spirit as well as the material side of the material world. Hence, when we talk about mind, we are also talking about the vibrations of the causal body of intelligence and the vibrations of the etheric body of senses. Vibrations from the causal body, astral body, and the etheric body go and hit a mass of tissue in the gross body called brain. This brain receives all these three vibrations, processes them according to the destiny, karma, background, atmosphere, upbringing, taste, preferences, nature, size, psyche, whims, and fantasies of a particular living entity before selecting a particular type of vibration, processing it, and percolating the resultant juice to the rest of the gross body so that that living entity acts according to that processed juice. That is precisely the reason why there is a variety of species and nature and coloring in the society made up of various types of living entities, including the human living entity. Now, to come back to our subject, we are talking about this mind, which includes intelligence, senses, emotions, feelings, logic, and other such residue subjects. It has already been proved that you become what you think. That means precisely what I mentioned before. When you listen to a couple of vibrations from any such subtle body and your brain processes them after selecting them for processing, it comes out with a juice which forms the actual ingredient on which the gross body of your living entity reacts. Suppose this brain takes vibrations from the causal body, you may end up as a logical, evolved, intellectual, material, and spiritual person. If you take only the astral body of mind, then you become emotional and full of feelings. On the other hand, if your brain selects only the vibrations from the etheric body of senses, then you become sensuous in nature and enjoy the material world to its brim. Usually, it does not happen this way. Only 70% of humanity at any given time in a lifetime prefers to be just sensuous and enjoy the colorings of the material world. 20% also use their vibrations from the astral body of mind, feelings, and emotions. However, the remaining 5% also use the vibrations sent out by the causal body of intelligence and logic to the brain so that a person whose brain is selecting and processing vibrations from the causal body makes that a living entity intellectually and spiritually more evolved, and it makes people materialistically or spiritually successful. How this happens, we have been trying to analyze in various case histories that we have dealt with or talked about in my previous videos. The previous video that we talked as a case history was that of the life and times of a spiritually evolved Maha Avatar called Babaji. Today we shall continue with such discussion for our own knowledge and experience. Mahavatar Babaji was so evolved spiritually that his brain took only vibrations from his causal body of intelligence and logic and made him more and more spiritually inclined. So much so that as a Babaji in a particular birth in the 900 AD century, he shed his gross body and became a celestial body or a celestial being. This gave him several occult and clairvoyant powers. Being spiritual in nature, he was able to meditate on self and the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he discovered or invented a new form of meditation which, according to him, could speeden up the process of self realization of a spiritually inclined human living entity. This particular process was known as Kriya Yoga. Once Babaji, who had by now become a celestial being, tried to introduce this form of Kriya Yoga of meditation to the humanity in general in the society, he began selecting the right person through whom it could be introduced to the humanity in this world. For that, he began searching in the atmosphere and ether for the right kind of spirit soul which could become a vehicle to carry such extraordinary and exalted knowledge of Kriya Yoga. After waiting and searching patiently, he and his gaze fixed upon a particular living entity, which, according to his own desires, whims, fantasies, and preferences, was born in a Bengali family. We have already discussed about how Mahavatar Babaji was born in a Tamil speaking family and was christened Nagarajan initially, but was kidnapped by a evil person from the same community and sold to a Bengali businessman and good Samaritan who rescued Nagarajan from slavery in that particular lifetime. Probably this had an effect on the subconscious mind of Babaji. He had already reached Bengal, which is the eastern side of the Indian subcontinent, and hence, according to Bhakti Vedanta, was a spiritually inclined province of this particular subcontinent. We already know that according to Swami Bhakti Vedanta, East is spiritual, West is material, North is meditative, and South is speculative. Nagarajan was initially born in the speculative side of South, but because of his own past destiny, landed up in East, where he became spiritually inclined. Because of his gratitude towards this Bengali gentleman in that particular lifetime, Babaji decided to take or prefer one specimen from that side of India to carry out his own discovery of Kriya Yoga. Ultimately, he did succeed in selecting the right kind of living entity which was floating in the ether at that time when it was selected. When this happened, this particular living entity took birth in an eastern family of India called Lahiri. This living entity was born on 28th September 1828 in a very respectable middle class spiritually inclined family in West Bengal or in Bengal of the eastern side of India. I said middle class, but actually, probably at that time, this family was quite affluent. This boy was christened Shyam Sundar Lahiri. The boy's father was already a very religious and spiritually inclined person who built a temple for none other than Lord Shiva. This family spent some time in Bengal, but because Lord Shiva's main temple of Kashi Vishwanath happens to be in the eastern side as well in a town called Banaras, this family relocated to a place called Bengali Tola in Banaras. This boy was fair, tall, well built, and athletic by nature. Lo and behold, Maha Avatar Babaji was so fond of this vehicle of Kriya Yoga, which would in future introduce Kriya Yoga to this world, he that he shaped this boy's physical gross body according to his own. In other words, Maha Avatar Babaji wanted this particular vehicle of human living entity known as Lahiri or Sham Sundar Lahiri to look like him and have his own appearance. In other words, it has been argued and vouched for by several people that Lahiri Mahashaya or the spiritualist called Sham Sundar as he was called looked and behaved like none other than Maha Avatar Babaji. Probably Maha Avatar Babaji's subconscious mind, which had recorded his experiences as Nagarajan in the century of 900 AD in India, wanted the future career of Kriya Yoga form of meditation into the humanity and society through a person who looked exactly like Maha Avatar Babaji. Anyway, this Lahiri Mahashaya, initially known as Shyam Sundar Lahiri, was not as much interested in religion and spiritualism as he was in other extracurricular material activities like playing, swimming, and other athletics, etc. This made this boy a fair complexioned, tall, well built young gentleman. This boy was already settled in this Bengali community of Bengali Tola in the township of Varanasi. At the age of 28 or 29, he got a job as an accounts department in the defense accounts department of Indian government in India. India was during this time under British colonial rule. This boy was given a job as accounts assistant in one of the defense account offices in Varanasi. Here he settled down to his job and began raising a family. So much so of the actual life of Shyam Sundar Lahiri. We are actually talking about mind. Now we will try to analyze the mind of this person known as Shyam Sundar Lahiri, who would later be known as Lahiri Mahashay or Lahiri Mahasaya. This person, Lahiri Mahashay, had a subconscious mind which had stored some memories of his spiritual past to such an extent that this guy was chosen by none other than another very great spiritualist called Maha Avatar Babaji, who had by now become a celestial being. You will appreciate that as a celestial being, Maha Avatar Babaji did not come into the gross body form of birth to introduce his own discovery of Kriya Yoga. It is precisely because of that he selected this living entity who would be taking birth in a gross body in this material world. Now, Lahiri Mahachai, who was already a very great spiritualist, was chosen by Mahavatar Babaji to represent himself and his own idea of Kriya Yoga in this material world. We shall continue with the story of Lahiri Mahashaya in my next video. Kindly let me know what you think of my talk on this particular case history and subject in this video. Please give me your own expert opinions, thoughts, ideas, and views so that I may blend everything together for the sake of this society. Before concluding, let me remind you that I am also a published author with Amazon Kindle and paperback. I write on spiritualism, fiction, and assorted subjects. Spiritualism happens to be my favorite subject. Till we meet in my next video, it is good morning from TSV Raghavan.